Welcome back to the Delaware Way. When you think about domestic violence, chances are you don't think about teen dating violence. And that's why this month, the month of February, is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month in Delaware. Here to talk more about that is Alisia Drew, who is the project coordinator with the Delaware Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
It isn't something, when you hear about domestic violence, that comes to the top of mind. And I would imagine that's part of what you fight.
Yeah, so when we hear the term domestic violence, we often think about abuse in a partnership or a married relationship. But what we know is that violence it's very unique, and it's something that's very prevalent. So we can throw around a lot of terms, whether it be domestic violence, intimate partner violence, dating violence, teen dating violence. But what we know is that there are a large percentage of individuals who experience some type of violence, whether it be physical violence, emotional abuse, financial abuse, utilizing technology or stalking at prevalent rates that we identify this as a public health issue.
But teen dating violence, I want to stay with that for a second, because all of us know about the domestic violence in the household, and it's much too prevalent, and something has to be done about that too. But it's usually a husband-wife relationship or parent-child relationship. The teen dating, you're not stuck in the household together. You don't have financial dependence on the person that's abusing you. You don't have a contract. And so I don't understand why people just can't break out of that.
Yeah, it can be very difficult. So with teen dating violence, what we see around figures is that about 1 in 4 young people under the age of 18 experience some type of dating violence. There's research that comes out of Delaware. High schools, local high schools, will administer what's known as the Youth Risk Behavioral Health Survey. And what they found is that about more than 1 in 4 students have experienced either emotional abuse, dating violence, or sexual violence. And many of those people have experienced multiple forms of violence. But what we see is it's a very unique experience. We have young people who developmentally have less experience in relationships, and they're trying to identify what is appropriate, what's not appropriate. Cultural norms pressuring young people to be engaged in relationships without really role modeling what does a healthy relationship look like. Oftentimes they're not sure what resources are available, and they may not even be indicating that or identifying that it's an unhealthy relationship in the first place.
Are some of the people that are more prone to this or not able to get out of those relationships, which you would think would be easier than some domestic violence to get out of, are they victims of domestic violence at home?
What we see around youth violence is that about 60% of youth witness some type of violence, whether it be in the home or in the community. So that often can set the stage of what they may identify as a normal relationship, or they may have seen a lack of success of an individual seeking support and not receiving the support that they may need, or not really learning how to navigate, how to be empowered in a relationship to say this is what I deserve and respect, or these are the resources that are available to support me if I choose to end this relationship. If they're witnessing that violence at home, that can definitely be a part of the equation. Oftentimes we see a cycle of violence, so it's not uncommon to see an intergenerational trend of violence, but it's a little bit more complex than just the individual experience.
And part of the reason you're here is to reach out to people that might be in these relationships to seek help. How do they contact you and your organization?
So on our website, we list not only national but also local resources broken down by county. www.dcadv.org, Delaware Coalition Against Domestic Violence. There's also really great national resources specifically for teen dating violence.
And you link to that?
And we link to that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. Alisia Drew, who is the project coordinator with the Delaware Coalition Against Domestic Violence. That is the Delaware Way for this week. Go to www.kjwp2.com to replay segments from this show or previous shows. And leave your comments about what you've seen on today's show or other shows on our Facebook page, or you can reach out to me on Twitter at The Delaware Way or at Larry Menti. We may read your thoughts on a future show. Again, I'm Larry Menti. We will see you again for The Delaware Way next week.